Please, Jeff Plankenhorn.
It's a real pleasure to be back and to see fine people, and it was really, really fun being on the radio today with Scott. I had a blast, and I sure like being here, especially when you're having a mild winter. Sorry, let's get this going. I have a new EP out, and well, why don't I just start with the first song off my new EP? Is that all right? What are you gonna say? No! Play something we don't know. Well, that's much nicer. Just another homesick child, tired of running wild, ready to stand trial and move on. Though I'm guilty in your sight, sure some must see tonight, I can't make it through the fight alone. Oh, but oh no, now Lord, don't make it easy. Keep me working till I work it all out. But please, please, just shine enough light on me that I'm free from this shadow of doubt. Keep me out of the shadow of doubt. Yes, I'm trying to make some sense of this world I'm up against. Lord, I know my best defense is your love. When the struggle gets insane, all the lessons full of pain, keep me calling out your name with love. Oh, but oh no, now Lord, don't make it easy. Keep me working till I work it all out. But please, please, just shine enough light on me that I'm free from this shadow of doubt. Keep me out of the shadow of doubt. I will whisper in the dark from the bottom of my heart till I see one little star start to shine. I will climb the mountain high, reach out to the sky till you open up my eyes so blind. Oh, but oh no, now Lord, Don't make it easy. Keep me working till I work it all down. But please, please, just shine enough light on me that I'm free from this shadow of doubt. And keep me out of the shadow of doubt. Keep me out of the shadow of doubt. Oh, thanks very much. Well, I guess obviously this is the first time that a number of you have appeared before me. So I imagine you're a little nervous. I know I would be if I saw me walk out with this weird thing, but I just, write my songs and play songs with my friends and go around, and I feel pretty lucky to make my living playing music. And let's see, I'm 6 gigs into this East Coast Midwest tour. Are we in either of those right now? Technically? Not really. We're right in the middle of that. And I think that I'm just sufficiently getting sick of myself enough to get rid of the set list. What do you guys think? Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't want to do the same thing every night. Set lists are only there to have something to deviate from. I started out, let's see, where did I start? Boy, I can't even remember now. Jersey, I think. I started out in Asbury Park, and then I went and I played in the city. And, man, I've had some really, really great gigs. Kind of the first time I've ever done this run as a solo artist. I said I got a new EP, so I have an idea. I'm just going to play the whole EP for you, just 4 songs in a row. Why not? I've never done that before. The first song that I played was a song. Okay, so the EP is called Covered, Uncovered, Volume 1. Imagine that you're 43 years old and you decide to start a solo career. You've been a side person most of your life. And then by 46, it's actually working. Here we are today. And I feel pretty lucky that this type of music, you could actually do that, And I had a really, really great career playing with lots of other people. And it's very humbling to go on to a lot of these stages and some of the festivals in Texas that I've been able to play in the last couple of years. Very humbling. But so I made this EP. I do this thing called Patreon, and every month I put out a cover song and an original song. And that way I don't have to wait until I have $20,000 to make a new record and another $20,000 to promote it. I can just put out stuff every month, and who cares? I don't have to worry about what bin it goes in. And, whether it's a jug band tune or whatever. And a lot of times I put originals on, and I put covers on that people would want, but I wouldn't necessarily put on an album. That last song was a Gary Nicholson song. He's one of my favorite writers, and he's somebody that I write with sometimes, but I just love that song, and I would play it. People would ask about it. So, hence, put it on my Patreon page. And then I just took the 4 covered and uncovered songs that kind of suited this solo singer-songwriter tour that I said. No, I'm just kidding. I'll talk about that later, too. But, things for the storyteller set, like I'm doing right now. The first original on it was inspired by a bird. And my wife's from Vancouver Island, and she's a horticulturalist and an arborist, and she's got a love of nature that I never had growing up in a steel town in Ohio. It's been a really good influence on a city boy like me. Which town? I grew up in Mansfield. I'm sorry, sir, I don't remember opening it up to the crowd for the question and answer part of the show. No, I'm just kidding. I love it when I get the first opportunity to use that one, because I get a couple of laughs right at the beginning. Youngstown, is that right? Yeah.
Steel town
Steel Town, yeah. We were Empire Steel, and Tappan was there for a minute, but it all left. If you want to know about Mansfield, Ohio, just think Shawshank Redemption. That was filmed in Mansfield, so. My wife's from Vancouver Island. Yes, I married a foreigner. It's okay. I'm bringing our two countries together. That's what I'm doing, you know. And so we get out of her truck. Like I said, she's a gardener. So we get out of her truck, and I hear this bird, and this bird goes. I was like, ooh, that was really pretty. And I whistled back to the bird, and I went. And she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I heard a bird over there. And so we whistle back and forth, me and this bird. It just keeps repeating what I'm doing. And I'm no birder, and I guess it's a mockingbird. I don't know what the heck it is. And it's really cool. And then I was like, man, it's kind of cool sounding. And she's like, whatever. And then she's very patient. And she does. My wife has the patience of Job to be married to me. But so I walk in, and I grab a guitar off the wall, because I always have to have them around just in case something comes up. And I went. It sounded bluesy, and I went. I started thinking about how, I'm up in Vancouver Island, and I have to go down south a lot to play gigs, and I really love it up there. It's real beautiful, and like seeing the world through my wife's eyes sometimes. She sees things differently, so that became, it was like. Shade of a lazy dogwood tree. You hear it in his lonesome tune, long stretched shadow of the afternoon, a taste of everything wild and free. Southern fly, soon I'll be far from this sleepy northern sea. Southern flying away. Now evening when the tide is high, strolling with her by my side, in every turn perfect work of art. When I see the world through her brown eyes, curtains open on a new sunrise, to the myth that sings straight into my heart. People ask if I'm going to give the bird a co-write. Not really planning on it. It's funny, I have a friend who we were looking at this fanzine that Tom and Jan had lying on their counter, and it was cool. And I was this buddy of mine named Miles Zuniga is in a band called Fastball. He really likes Big Star, and so they were on the cover, and I just sent something to him. And I remembered while I was singing that song that when I was in the studio with him, and we were working on a song that Patty Griffin on my last album sang harmonies on. That will be the first in many name drops. Believe me, I'm not above that. Because you know when somebody name drops, they're just trying to make themselves appear like one rung higher on the entertainment ladder, leaned against the wall of illusion and broken dreams. In fact, I was talking about that with Ray Wiley Hubbard the other day, and he agrees with me. It's a disgusting habit. So Miles says, so Miles and I were working on this song, and he goes, oh, just repeat the bridge and the chorus. And I was like, yeah, man, but if I do that, then I'm repeating the bridge and the chorus 3 times, like without changing anything. And he goes, you obviously haven't listened to a lot of popular music. And I was like, well, you got me there. I don't know, I mean, I like both. The Beatles were pop. Hendrix was pop, There's nothing wrong with that either. If it's good, right? So that song has 3 very repetitive choruses. I don't know if I learned something or I went down to his level. So this next song, I usually do it later in the set, but we're doing something different tonight. What do you guys think of, I always ask the crowd, and I hope it's not too early to do this, what do you think of when someone says the phrase, and please don't say a club in New York. That's cool, but someone says, besides a club in New York that used to be, what do you think of when someone says the bottom line? And somebody says, what? Profit, money. It's always money, right? Always. Almost always when I say it, somebody says money to me. Especially when I'm over here on the East Coast, they always go, a club in New York that closed. But then I'm like, yeah. Okay, so that's very cool that you knew that, but... CBGBs. Yeah, that would be if I asked what CBGBs was, sure. So I heard about this thing. I'm weird, and I stay up at night listening to, Noam Chomsky interviews and random things like that, Alan Watts podcasts, and Yuval Noah Harari. You guys know who he is? Oh, he's the coolest. You gotta check out Yuval Noah Harari. I swear he's gonna be like the intellectual of our time. I love him so much. So I stay up and I listen to things, and one time I was listening to Noam and I heard about this thing called externalities. An externality is like an unintended consequence in business or in other things. And if you are a CEO or if you're responsible to your shareholders, you're taught to ignore externalities. And an externality might be a negative a consequence for a human being who either profits from what you're doing or is buying something that you're doing or is one of your employees. And I thought, that sucks. That's really messed up that we teach people to ignore externalities even if they affect people in a negative way because it affects the bottom line. And I don't know about you guys. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on in this case. I believe that there are things that kind of go beyond party these days. I'll give you an example. At any time in the United States right now, there could be 30,000 veterans on the street. That's ridiculous. We have the money to take care of that. The money's just not going to the right place. I'll give you another one. If a teacher has to pay for school supplies to teach their own students, that is bull, and don't tell me we don't have the money for it. We're just not putting it in the right place. I don't think that kids in the United States of America, the richest country in the world, should have to worry about how much their parents paid for their house as to whether or not they're going to have a good education. I think that's baloney. I don't think that's a party issue. So I started thinking, man, we got to start talking to each other on these things. Used to be we could have different ideas, but we didn't hate each other. You know, I may be Republican or I may be a Democrat or I may be this, but I didn't hate you. Now we hate each other, and I don't like that at all. And so I got together with an elder statesman friend of mine and a younger gal that I really respect, and I said I wanted to write a new song about the bottom line. And I really wanted the perspective of somebody younger and myself and somebody older to get it together. So the third song that's on the EP is a song called The Bottom Line, and I hope you like it. Sadie lives alone down off Market Street in a tent behind the Lord and Taylor store. Gets her food where she can find it. She fell one paycheck behind, and she can't pull up her bootstraps anymore. Benny drives a rideshare on the weekends, 'cause he couldn't find him anything full time. He spent 8 years overseas fighting faceless enemies. Oh, the things he has to do not to survive. And I wonder, when you were a baby, did Mother Earth make you part of her design? Was it circumstance or luck that kept you down and brought you up? But isn't it all the same, sunshine? That shows you where to draw the bottom line. All the rainy day patrons know Melissa when she's pouring coffee with her kindly smile. What with 3 kids at home, she's raising them alone, working every tip to buy them school supplies. And I wonder, when you were a baby, did Mother Earth make you part of her design? Was it circumstance or luck that kept you down and brought you up? But isn't it all the same, sunshine? That shows you where to draw the bottom line. Last night, oh, I thought I heard a whisper, like a long lost friend of mine. The voice rang clear and true. There's only so much we can do. Just keep your eyes upon the bottom line. And I wonder, when you were a baby, did Mother Earth make you part of her design? Was it circumstance or luck that kept you down and brought you up? But isn't it all the same, sunshine? Oh, I hope one day you see the bottom line. Solo singer-songwriter stuff, that's a horrible thing. I shouldn't say that. It's all kind of slow and melancholy. Maybe not the best way to start a set, but I'm told that it's that touch of unprofessionalism that makes me so lovable. I could be wrong about that, shouldn't I? Okay, so I did 2 originals, and uh-oh. Was it something I said? Apparently it was. It's okay, I never liked them anyway. This guy's boring. Let's get out of here. The last cover song. Okay, so there's 2 originals and 2 covers. The other one you may or may not recognize. It's by a little-known Canadian. Talked on the radio today about how we do this sort of pseudo-gospel brunch, and we do a lot of songs where we want everybody to feel welcome because we're raising money for the Central Texas Food Bank, and it's a good thing. And it's a good thing for your heart. And so I always want everybody to feel welcome. So we found a lot of Unitarian, Universalist kind of, for lack of a better word, songs. This is one of them, and this is the last song, I believe, on the EP. And then I'll pick it up a little. Comes a time when you're drifting. Comes a time when you settle down. Comes a light, feelings left in. Lift that baby right up off the ground. Oh, this whole world keeps spinning round. It's a wonder tall trees ain't laying down. There comes a time you and I, we were captured. We took our souls and we flew away. We were right, we were given. That's how we kept what we gave away. Oh, this whole world keeps spinning round. It's a wonder tall trees ain't laying down. There comes a time there comes a time It's a wonder tall trees ain't laying down. There comes a time there comes a time there comes a time I can't remember the last time I played two covers that early in a set. All right, let's pick it up a little. Most people write road songs, you know, this is a road song. And they write road songs like, oh, the road is so hard, I'm so lonely. And then, you know, the road is hard, it is hard, but any good job is hard, right? I like being on the road. I like meeting new people, I like going around places. But then I got married about 7 years ago. And now I kind of like being home too, you know? Though, kind of works out. My wife is kind of, what's the word? Independent. Usually after about 3 weeks of me being home, my wife says something akin to, when are you going on the road again, honey? And it all works out just fine. I've been riding, I've been beating the pavement, Oakland to New Orleans. I've been biting, I've been hiding the nails on my fingers, trying to figure out what it means. But the road's been good to me, Lord, you know I can't complain. Yes, the road is all I know, without it I wouldn't be the same. But as I roll on down, flying and defying my heart, well, it stays the same. If I don't get home before the sun, girl, it'd be a crying shame. Well, it's hard, it is pity when you get what you ask, and it wasn't what you wanted all along. You wake up and you shake, and you come to find you've been going up about it all wrong. Teacher and my friend. Yes, the road is all I know. Right now I won't see you again, but it's a long, long way from TX to BC, and I'm counting every single mile. I'm gonna get back to you. We're gonna do the things we do. Can't wait to see you smile. Homecoming, yeah, I'm homecoming. I'm coming home. I'm homecoming. Come on, come on. Oh, how I miss my sweet one waiting, still anticipating the day I return. When I laid down my boots right next to my roots, Lord, I've been feeling the burn. Homecoming, yeah, I'm homecoming. Girl, I'm coming home. I'm homecoming. But the road's been good to me. Get fun. I do like being on the road. Okay, Tom, maybe that one was a little bit country. It's about as country as Kirchen gets, is that right? You know, down in Texas we have sort of a different interpretation of what country is. They would not necessarily call that a country song. They'd call that like a J.J. Cale kind of Tulsa song. But I've learned that up here my music has to go in other bins, and it's funny because it does. Because people will be like, "Oh no, that's country," and I'll be like, "What?" But it's cool because I don't care as long as they like it. On my last album, I had back to the name drop thing, a song that I had co-written with Ray Wiley Hubbard because I played guitar on I played on a bunch of Ray's albums, and I played slide on that Tell the Devil That I'm Getting There As Fast As I Can song. Does anybody know that? No? Nobody? A couple people? Okay, so I played slide on that. And Ray was like, "You want to go in the studio or you want to write something for your next album?" And I'm not stupid. I went, "Yep." And so he said, "Send me some ideas." And so I sent him a list of song titles. I was like, "I got a bunch of song titles. It'll totally spark you." And right in the middle of it, I put the one I knew he was going to pick. And he looks at the piece of paper, and he goes, "What's tooth and nail?" I was like, yeah, that's the one I knew. So I knew you'd like that. Sorry, if you don't already know, Ray Wiley has a little bit of sling blade in his voice. Just a tad of, "Hey, mister," you know, that kind of thing. When I moved to Texas, which I never thought I would, I drove there with $100 and a Geo Prism and drove straight to his house and lived there for a few months when I first got there. So Ray and I write this song, and then Rolling Stone Country puts it out as one of the top 10 Americana songs released that week, which is great because my publicist used it for the next 6 months for every press release. And it was especially cool or weird or odd because I didn't make a country album. And I don't mean to denigrate anybody who listens to country music. And if you listen to country music, to denigrate means to put down. Sorry, we don't have any Bob Newhart fans here? Okay, sorry. It's an old Bob Newhart joke. But anyway, so I wrote this song with Ray, and it's cool. We put a couple of name drops of some of my favorite people in the last verse because he was like, "What do you want to do with the last verse?" And I was like, "You're the king of name drops, so let's just put some name drops in of some young people that inspired me." Because tooth and nail is just like hard work and something where you got to claw your way to the top. And we all have our own respective things. I thought people could relate. For us, it was just being a songwriter and, you know, doing it because you love it, not necessarily because you want to have a Jaguar in your driveway. It's like, no, we just write because we like songs. You know, I'd be doing this anyway. And Ray said, "Yeah, man, I can get behind that." And it came out real easy. And then he came in the studio to hear how it was sounding. And we started with this really cool bass line from my co-producer. It sounds like this. And it's pretty cool, right? You know. And then Ray was like sitting on a couch, and he like he grabbed a guitar and he was listening to the track because we had the track all done. And he just went like this. He went. That's got to go in there. You know, I just thought it was so cool. And so I was like, "All right, you mind putting that down?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah. So he went in the studio, he grabbed one of my guitars and went in there and put that down. I was like, "Oh, man, that's groovy." I was like, "You want to sing on the choruses with me?" And he goes, "Yeah, exactly right. And, you're already with me." So, "You want to sing on the chorus?" You go, "I don't know, man. It's your song." "No, it's our song. Let's sing it together." So he comes and he sings in the choruses. It sounds real cool. It sounds all grovelly and like, you know, kind of hip. And I said, "Want to take the second verse?" And he goes, "All right." So he goes in with the second verse. He sings the second verse. Then we put the song out, and it's real cool because, like, you know, Rolling Stone Country puts it out and all that jazz. And then I go out and I got to play the song by myself, you know. And it's like, every time I play it for nice folks like you, something's missing, you know? It's like, I told Ray it was like going out and playing Islands in the Stream without Dolly. I'm not really sure who I am in that metaphor. We'll go with Dolly. Okay, it's kind of like this. It's joy and misery every time. It seems you got to prove it. It's like an old cat having kittens. You just crawl under the porch and do it. Spitting out words a whole lot faster. You can even write them down. And every time you got to believe it's a sermon on the mount. Tooth and nail, fireball mail, runaway train in a driving rain. Oh, coming off the rail today. And then here comes Ray's verse. He's like this. It's a raven perched on a windowsill on a cold and stormy day. It's the sign of the times written on a one-string fiddle or a Steinway. It's a mandolin in an angel's hand playing a record 97, or a prayer to the gods to send me some lightning from a distant heaven. Tooth and nail, fireball mail, a runaway train in a pouring rain. Oh, coming off the rail to the nail. It's Rexall Quarter on Saturday night with a young Hayes tending bar. It's a Baptist church on a Sunday morning with a hungover choir. It's a young girl named Jamie who's a little high strung. She got a tattoo on her right arm of the poet who wrote Lungs. Tooth and nail, fireball mail, a runaway train in a pouring rain. Oh, coming off the rail to the nail, to the nail, to the nail. All right, so you may or may not have noticed that. Oh, thanks very much. Thanks very much. I'm sure Ray's happy that I'm making tens of dollars on that song. It's a big hit. No, it actually it did help. If you didn't notice, I've got this little pedal down here, and it's this weird thing. So Ray asked me to come join him for an opener. He was playing a place in Denver, Colorado, right when my record came out. He said, I want you to come do a couple openers for me in Colorado, get you in front of that audience. I said, cool. So I go up and I open in front of 400 people at this place called The Soiled Dove. Horrible name, fantastic venue, you know. So I call a friend of mine who's a guitar player. His name is Michael O'Connor, really great guitar player. He lives in Denver now. And I said, would you come play with me? I'd like to play my weird guitar and take some solos. It'd be great to have somebody backing me up. He says, oh yeah, sure, that'd be great. So we go to a radio station the day before. And we play on the radio to promote the show. Not that we needed to, but just that we're doing it. And it's a nice thing to do, I guess. And I'm a nice guy. Anyway. So, sorry, my wife says my sarcasm doesn't sound like sarcasm. I'm still working on it. It goes over great in England. England, they just get it right away. So I play we play this radio show, you know, and it goes great. And so I want to do a favor for my friend. I didn't pay him to play the radio show. I said, Michael, can I buy you lunch? And he goes, oh, right next door, there's a really great Italian place. And I said, cool, I haven't had Italian in a while. So I take him out to lunch. We have our big lunch together. We drive back to his place. We do a little writing. He says, man, I'm not feeling too well. So we wake up the next morning. He's got food poisoning, like bad. Bad, like texting me from his room, sorry, man, can't do the gig. And I'm like, God, what am I going to do? So I went to a Guitar Center. Now, Guitar Center is sort of like the Home Depot for musicians. It's not where you go to find the guitar that you're going to love for the rest of your life. It's where you go to get staples because they're cheap. And usually people there aren't terribly knowledgeable. You know, it's usually some kid who looks at me and goes, bass strings are really expensive, man. If you're like in a friend with your kid's band, then you can buy some bass strings and join our club. And I'm like, okay, whatever, kid. And I made my living doing this. Now I'm that guy. So I buy a looper pedal. And a looper, like a lot of people use these looper pedals. They create these giant soundscapes and these songs that like repeat and unfold, and I can't do any of that. But what I did was I would record a verse while I was playing, and then I would hit the little button, and then my rhythm guitar would play, and I'd just take a solo over it. And I named it Michael. And then I used it at the show the very night. And when it was going good, I'd go, take it, Michael! But he'd look at me like I was crazy. No, I told them this story too. And then if it was going really bad, I'd be like, Michael, I'm going to have to take, $50 off your pay tonight for that one. Because when a looper does not sound good, or you mess up, all the timing gets messed up. And it's really, really hard to, like, if you hit it at the wrong time, it sounds really, really bad. And thankfully, we haven't done that yet. That'll be in the next couple songs. And it sounds like, an analog tape machine recording at high volume, falling off the back of the truck while recording. That's what it sounds like. But I like bringing it now because it's kind of like, I got Michael with me. He loves being named after a looper, being a guitarist who spent years learning how to play guitar and to accompany people. He's happy about that. He says that it doesn't complain as much, and I'm not sure if I agree with that. But this next song is going to feature Michael. And it's a song that I wrote with a friend of mine. It's another one from the Sleeping Dogs record, and we wrote it in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. And I like to think there's a lot of hope in this song. And with everything that just happened in Nashville, I've been thinking about it. A lot of people down there who have some busted up homes and families and all that kind of stuff. So I like to hopefully spread some hope with this every once in a while. All is quiet, the storm has gone, time to sift through the rubble, see what is lost and move on. Looking around, might seem we've lost it all, but fools can always find a little further to fall, a little further to fall. out of danger, no need for concern. Why even ask? There's no lesson to be learned. These paper card houses, we build them up so tall, but fools can always find ways to make them fall a little further to fall. Hard luck, bad luck, no luck at all. We still got a little further to fall. Always find a little further to fall, a little further to fall, a little further to fall, a little further to fall. Thank you. I wrote that with a friend of mine named Gabriel Rhodes. That's on a Sleeping Dogs record. I've been playing a lot of stuff. I'm really low on CDs because I sold a bunch already this tour, which is a great problem to have. I have my EP. I've got a few of those, and I've got my CD. You guys will appreciate this, and I may have told this story the last time I was here, but it's a good one. I had finally I had sold out the Saxon Pub, which is about 140 seats, or whatever, when it's like packed to the brim, in a little standing room in the back. And I felt like, if it never gets any bigger than this, I'll be okay because I'll be able to pay my bills. This is so great. I just felt so good. It was 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, and I had sold it out. And I got done, and I was about to go off stage, and I just had that feeling, hometown. Felt really good. And this young man walks up to the front of the stage, and he's holding my CD. And he's shaking it at me. He's like, "Hey, man, I loved your set." I said, "Thank you." He's all wide-eyed. He's like, "I bought your CD." I said, "Cool." He goes, "I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I bought it." Which I was like, well, it's because kids just stream, And I was like, I got to tell you, it felt like a personal victory in that moment. I was just like, cool, all right. And if you listen to those things, I always tell people if they do listen to those things, it's like the quality goes down. It's like vinyl, and then CD sounds better, and then the vibrations, it just sounds better, and but if you do listen to those things, then what I want you to do is you go home and you follow me on one of those streaming things. And then you turn down the volume, and when you go to bed, you put it on repeat. Now, I won't make any money. It's still 0.0003 cents per spin. But I'll look better to club owners. because they look and they see who's getting spins in certain areas. So it's kind of good if you want to help a musician. Just share a playlist and play it all night long. I do it for my friends. Probably don't have to tell you guys that in a record store, do I? But it is. I do need people to follow me there too. My last album was called Sleeping Dogs, and okay, so I'm driving with my wife on Vancouver Island, and it's rainy and it's beautiful, and I get this Toots and the Maytals song stuck in my head. You know, Pressure Drop. I'm thinking boom 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 boom. What is that one? It's like it is you. Oh yeah. You know, and I'm just like this in the head as we're driving down the road, and I'm like, I got this Toots song in my head, and we're driving, and my wife is like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, I got a song idea in my head. And she goes, okay. So we pull over, and she takes the wheel, and I get out my little notebook, and I start writing all these ideas about sleeping dogs. Like, I want to let the sleeping dogs lie. And I was like, oh, I'll just put all these things that I'm really, really bad at, and I'll write a verse about it as if I'm really good at it now. And then I'll sing it on a couple of tours, and I'll beat it into my brain, and then maybe after a tour or two, I'll get better at these things, and it'll be therapy, you know, for me and whoever listens to it. And so I write the song, and it's been about a year and a half, and, well, you know, nothing's really changed on that front. But what's really cool is they played it so much in Austin that a friend came up to me, and he was like, I am really sick of hearing that on the radio. And I was like, all right, that's a good thing to have somebody tell you. We went in the studio the day Tom Petty died, and my last album was a lot of soul and a lot of slide, you know, this thing. And so I called it Soul Slide, because I wasn't working really hard for a title, you know. And it was great, but when we went in literally the morning Tom Petty died, we started working on all my songs. I had no idea I was going to make an Americana roots rock kind of record. And we didn't make anything that sounded like Tom Petty, but he was just creeping into different things. We'd say, well, what would happen on this song, and what would happen on this song? And that's just kind of what happened. Well, anyway, here's the title track. Oh, and the main reason was I just wanted to have an album cover that you looked at and you wanted to pet it. So it's like a nice close-up. There's a whole lot of fur. My dog Oscar, my wife and I are dog people. And you flip it around, and it's Oscar's butt. You know, it's perfect. Worked like a charm. Used to worry about everything, what you thought, what you think. Now I know I do what's right. I let the sleeping dogs lie. Every time I fall down, I once again feel the cold ground. Get up, believe it, and I go on trying, and let the sleeping dogs lie. So I let the sleeping dogs lie. Once you had me in your claws, never knew what was the cause, but I let go, I ceased to fight, and let the sleeping dogs lie. You say some things behind my back, well, I'm not so very concerned with that. Your problem has never been mine. I let the sleeping dogs lie. So I let the sleeping dogs lie. So I let the sleeping dogs lie. Someone to blame. That's exactly when I lost the game. No more tears come from my eyes. I let the sleeping dogs lie. I see it clearly coming through the mist. Where to finally be done with this? The illusion of power, it fades with time. If you let the sleeping dogs lie. So I let the sleeping dogs lie. So I let the sleeping dogs lie. So I let the sleeping sleeping dogs lie. So I let the sleeping dogs lie. She has a heart so true and kind, but what I love is her beautiful mind. All them troubles we can leave behind and let the sleeping dogs lie. Thank you. I guess I should learn to start with the uptunes. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, you know what? Let me do one more on guitar. I'm trying to think. Sometimes on these gigs where I get to a good point and I'm just, like I said, getting kind of tired of myself and my own songs, and I just want to be like a good Austin ambassador. And so I start thinking about like the people that I played with over the years, and I try and think of a song. Sometimes I'll play like a Willis Allen Ramsey song, or I'll play a Slade Cleave song, or a Stephen Bruton song, or a Patty Griffin song, or somebody like that I really like. And I'm against all better judgment. If you have someone like that you like, that I just named, I'm happy to play one of theirs. Or Champ Hood. You guys know who Champ Hood was? Champ Hood was in this band called Uncle Walt's Band. It was a huge influence on Lyle Lovett. And Champ played fiddle with Lyle Lovett a little bit. He was one of the most amazing guitar players you ever heard, because just like if you get 3 seconds of a Willie Nelson solo, you know it's Willie. Anybody, even if you don't play guitar, you're like, oh, that's Willie, because he's going... right? Champ was the same way, but he had this beautiful style. He and his other two guys came from South Carolina and moved to Texas. And they bridged this crazy thing between like bluegrass and 3-part harmonies. And the Texas singer-songwriter. It was really beautiful, beautiful music. It's an upright bass and 2 guitars, and sometimes Champ played fiddle. Well, I learned about him through this guy that I played with named Willis Allen, and on my Patreon page last month, I did this original, and then for my cover, I just really, really wanted to put this old Champ Hood song on, so I was going to do a big arrangement and all that jazz, and it just ended up just being me and a guitar. I was backstage at Austin City Limits, and the old Austin City Limits, the TV show, used to be in the communications building. So it looks like this big square fortress. And then you go in, and everybody thinks Austin City Limits used to be outside because of that backdrop, but it was inside a big room. And those of us who were a little bit more on the degenerate side, that's not the right word, it's dregs of society, we would find the smoking lounge. Back when I used to smoke, it's a horrible habit, biggest scam I ever felt for. Nobody likes a quitter, but I did anyway. So we're in the smoking lounge, and there's stuff signed all over the walls. Like really funny things. Like Sheryl Crow, I remember right where I always signed Plank, and then I just put a hashtag for every time I come back to a club. So it'll say like Plank, and then there'll be like 3 hashtags or something. And right above mine is where Sheryl Crow wrote, as if she were talking to the monitor engineer for her speakers, she says, I could use a little bit more organ in the back. I could use a little more organ in the front, too. She's a funny gal. So I'm in the smoking lounge, and Champ walks in, because we're both playing this show together, and it was my first time playing on it, and it was Champ's 9th time playing on Austin City Limits. So he walks into the smoking lounge, which is this long hallway by the reverb tanks with a high ceiling, and it's just gray and gross and smoky, and I can't believe what we used to do. It's just, ugh. And I mean, even as a smoker, I thought it was gross at that time. But you didn't have to go all the way out of the building and go down. You could go in there and smoke, and they didn't care. So Champ walks in, and I said, Champ, hey, man, I really, really love that song, So Long, Baby. And he goes, oh, yeah, it's a unique perspective. And I said, yeah. And I said, is it true this is your 9th time on Austin City Limits? And I've been on 3 times, but like I said, it was my first. And he goes, yeah, I think so. He's like, is this your first, Jeff? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, you're doing all right. You found the smoking lounge. Always loved him, but we lost him a few years back. His son, Warren Hood, carries on his legacy beautifully. And he's a brilliant fiddle player who kind of bridges that gap between like having lots of schooling but having lots of soul. When he went to Berkeley, everybody was scared. And then he came back and we're like, nah, he's good. All right, here's So Long, Baby. My babe says she's going, and she left me not knowing if I couldn't have helped her. She told me goodbye, said I'll see you sometime when the weather is better. So long, baby, so long, baby. Don't you show some respect? Ease off that gentle neglect. Drop by and give me a part of your day. She was a slow, dizzy Lizzie, couldn't keep herself busy, never had any friends. I just accompanied her misery, though it seems kinda silly, at the time, you know, it seemed okay. So long, baby, so long, baby, if you're ever passing by my way. Why don't you show some respect? Ease off that gentle neglect. Drop by and give me a part of your day. I always wanted to ask her just what she was after, but I guess I was lazy. And now that she's gone, I sit and stare at the lawn, and it's driving me crazy, baby. So long, baby, so long, baby, if you're ever passing by my way. Why don't you show some respect? Ease off that gentle neglect. Drop by and give me a part of your day. Hey, hey. Thank you, Champ Hood there. Well, I mentioned that my wife is from Vancouver Island, and like I said, married a foreigner, all that jazz. I think that one of the best things I can do to bring us together is like, it's not that hard, or especially around here. You're not that far. So my wife moves to Texas, and as we say in Texas, bless her heart. She moves to Texas from Vancouver Island, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world, to the heat. She has no friends, and for the first summer, she has no car. And she's stuck while I'm going around gigging all over the place. I don't know how the hell. She's, like I said, she's got the patience of Job. And pretty beautiful. But right when she moves down, I remember in the first week, my wife said to me, honey, I want you to tell me every time I say A. And I said, oh, sweetheart. that's not going to happen. And she goes, really? I say it all the time? And I was like, yeah. And then I said, it's okay. People down here really, really find it endearing. And then I realized that people up there, I'm from Ohio, but I've lived in Texas 20 years, so I've picked up a few isms, And so I'm not talking about like y'all. There's plenty of rednecks in Canada. They say y'all. But I'll say something like, tell you what. And invariably, one of my wife's girlfriends, if they hear me say it, they'll go, tell you what. And I'll be like, okay, well, after 7 years of marriage, I'll go ahead and turn it up a notch, and got to get a little something that way, So she's a horticulturalist and a gardener and an arborist. So much so, she's one, she's very modest and very quiet, very yin and yang, my wife and I. And she's the kind of gal that we'll be walking down the street and she'll grab a leaf and she'll crumple it up and she'll be like, here, smell this. It smells like bananas. I'm like, how the hell do you know this? It's very inspiring to me. And it's cool, I think what she does is cool. Now that she's seen behind the curtain, she knows what I do is not cool at all. It's just completely ruined for her. She still loves music, at least. I try to take her at least once every couple months to a show that, I don't know who the band is, because otherwise I don't ruin it for her. She'll be sitting there going, you're not on stage, honey. That kind of thing. So I was working on my last album, and I had written this thing that sounded like a gospel instrumental to me. It was really, really cool. And it went great. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll just put an instrumental on the album. I'm driving home through the Texas Hill Country in October. It's beautiful out. The weather is perfect. It's a sunset. And I'm like feeling really grateful. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call this song Heaven on Earth. And it just felt perfect. So I drive home another half hour. I get home. I'm playing the rough mix because I'm so proud of it. I don't usually play a lot of stuff for my wife until it's done because she will be honest. In true Canadian fashion, I'll say, honey, what do you think of this shirt? And she'll go, well, which means don't ever wear that shirt, honey. So I play it for her because I'm really liking it. And she's sitting there and she goes, Heaven on Earth, huh? And I said, yeah. And she goes, honey, what are your 5 favorite things in nature? And I'm like, well, that's kind of out of left field. That's kind of a strange question. And I was like, I'd never thought of it. And I said, I don't know. I gave her a dude answer, I was like, I don't know. I like mountains, which didn't impress her at all. And so, exactly like that, right? And so, I tried a couple other things. And then finally I said, honey, what are your 5 favorite things in nature? And I swear to you, the first thing out of my wife's mouth is, I love it when I'm standing in like really low water on pebbles and the sound that it makes when it goes through like your toes and your feet and the pebbles. And I was just like, and then I said, what else? And then I swear to you, my wife's not a writer. She just, her art is plants. And I'm so lucky. My wife will ask me, I'll say, what do you want for your birthday? She'll be like, dirt. Like, what else do you want for your birthday? She's like, rocks. She's like the only person I know that will like go, hey, pull over. There's some really cool rocks over there because you don't know what I could do with these. But I swear, the second thing, I said, what else? And she goes like this. She goes, I love it when I'm standing on like a big, giant, snow-covered field and it's just silent. And I was just immediately taken right there. I was so touched by it. And so I just had my wife just like spit out all these favorite things in nature. And I went in the next morning and I just sung over top of the instrumental all my wife's favorite things in nature. Came out as this song called Heaven on Earth, and I hope you like it. There's a bird nesting quietly on the back porch. Her song is not of rebirth. She sings soft and answering to her young ones. And she teaches heaven on earth. The sweet smell of harvest leaves, red foxes play for mirth, magnolia buds in the springtime, yeah. All can be heaven on earth. The winter field, snowy silence, the warmth of the evening summer winds, the sound of the waves through pebbles at your feet, the chores to love this world we live in. Take a walk with your love through the woodlands. You will see what this life is truly worth. There's no need to wait for untold futures, no. But today you can have heaven on earth, if only for a moment. Heaven on earth. Thank you. My wife, thank you very much. Thank you. My wife, everybody always says, did you give her a co-write? You know, and I'm always like, well, I said, honey, do you want me to give you a co-write? And she goes, oh, God. She's like, I'm going to get all the money anyway. Which is a very Canadian thing to not say. So I'm going to play just a couple more for you guys. What do you think? And try not to wear out my welcome, but still fulfill my contractual obligation with the bop shop. I forget sometimes to say when I'm in a place like this how much places like this mean to me, how much they meant to me growing up when I was learning how to play, and how much, you know, I think I might have mentioned it because I'm kind of having deja vu right here. I still love, like, when I have a meal with my wife or we cook, like getting a record out that we haven't listened to in a while and putting it on and listening to it. And, like, you know, if it's like a hard meal to cook, it's 2 records, one to cook and one to... But usually, you know, if we're just in a hurry, you know, it's like cook on one side and eat on the other. And you know, there's something missing with that whole connection, you know. That's why I love records so much still to this day. I did have some vinyl for my last album, and, you know, once I get to the point where, I'm not kidding, you know, my solo career really started about 3 years, well, almost 4 years ago now. And like I said, it's very humbling that I'm actually able to do this for a living. And pretty soon, hopefully, I'll be able to, bring vinyl on the road with me and stuff. It was hard enough for a while. I had this song. Well, I'll tell you after this song. It's a good. I got this song on the radio a few years back on an album that I don't even have here because I sold out on the road 2 albums back. I only brought. I didn't bring enough of them. I brought more of the new stuff, and I whatever. And I'm a master of self-promotion, as you can probably tell with this story. I got this song on the radio, and it was really humbling. Mostly Americana stations around the country, college stations would play it, and this song's 5 minutes and 40 seconds long, so it's kind of like having 2 songs on the radio, And then my mother wanted to hear this song that's on the radio. I visited her in Ohio. She said, play the song. And I said, okay. And I played the song, and I got done, and my mom said, Jeffrey. Somebody always laughs when I say that, right? And then she said, Jeffrey, because she can do that. She said, Jeffrey, that was beautiful. I said, thank you, Mom. And she said, can I ask you a question? I said, of course. And she said, are you okay? And I said, yeah, Mom, not every song is completely autobiographical. But Louisiana is my home. I drink my whiskey all alone. Temptation got me on the run, but mama's son don't hurt no one. Don't want no trouble. Trouble find me. Trouble find me. With nothing going right, and no hope is left inside. I should be praying to the Lord. Don't want to bother him tonight. Oh, and I don't want no trouble, no. Don't want no trouble. Yeah, but trouble find me. Trouble find me. Empty bottle in an aching head. You don't ever wanna be where I've been or will be. 'Cause when I'm down, and I'm always down, it's trouble find me, yeah. no more. All this knock, knock, knocking on my door. Nothing's on the other side, but still I'm always open wide. And I don't want no trouble, no. Don't want no trouble, but it seems trouble find me. Trouble find me. Trouble find me. Trouble find me. Thank you so very much. I'm okay, Mom. I got done playing that song in Rhode Island at a house concert, and a lady who was sitting right about where you are, I got done, and she goes, first of all, I'm very bad at accents. She goes, I can see why your mother was worried. I didn't ask her. She just said it. And I was like, cool. She gets it. All right, you guys. I got one more in me here. I mentioned that I got CDs, and I was going to tell you about that song. So I got this gig called the Armadillo Christmas Bazaar, which if you're not from Texas, you'd be like, why would you want to play the Armadillo Christmas Bazaar? It's a great gig, and I was happy to finally get it under my own name, and it's awesome. And they said, you need cool merch. And I was like, what? I got posters, I got stickers, I got koozies, I got all these things. And they were like, no, you need something crafty. So we made a joke. We took one of my posters and a picture of me, and we put a comic book bubble above it, and instead of trouble find me, we put coffee find me, slapped it on a coffee mug. I sold a ton of them. So I sold out before the show, never knew. Sold out before the show, then I sold out at the show, then I'm stuck driving around the country and flying around the country with coffee cups in these suitcases. My suitcase is huge. And, boo-hoo, I sold a whole bunch of them, and that's great and all, but if you would have told me when I was like 11 years old in my bedroom trying to learn how to play Hendrix and the White Album, that what I would need at 46 years old is a coffee cup with my image on it to skyrocket to the next level, well, I probably would have done it anyway. But really, the thing is, if you wanted a coffee cup that reminded you every morning of a song about depression and recovery, then I had the coffee cup for you. So I got tired of it, so I went down to fridge magnets. So now I have fridge magnets, and I can't believe how well they sell. And it's great because they're just like $5. I don't know. People just want something fun when they go to a show, and so you never know. I probably bring the coffee cups back one of these days on my online. And then as far as those T-shirts are concerned with my likeness on them, I never get used to being on a T-shirt. It's the weirdest thing ever. But my wife and her friends were running around town with these Lucy's Fried Chicken T-shirts, and I joke all the time. You know about Lucy's, right? And so I was like, and I, if you don't know this, I have the softest teachers you'll ever touch. And so my wife and all her friends are running around with Lucy's Fried Chicken T-shirts, and I was like, baby, what's the deal? She goes, I don't know, I could just live in this thing. And I was like, okay. So I went and I asked them where they got their T-shirts made. Now women buy my T-shirts whether or not they like my music. I had one guy come to a show. He's standing at the front of the stage. He goes, man, I want to tell you, I want to thank you. My wife bought one of your T-shirts, and now she sleeps in it every night. She sleeps like a baby. And I was like, wow, that's great. He goes, yeah, it's like you're in bed with us every night. I said, hey, man, it was cool. Everything was cool up until you said that. That really did happen. And anyway, I am So lucky to get to do this for a living, and so nice to come back here. We have literally quintupled what my first show here was, and hopefully next time I'll come back, maybe in November or something, we'll get some more people. One of these days I'll be able to bring my band through, but I am so grateful to do this for a living, so thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to leave you with one more song, and it may or may not have an audience participation part in it. And with that response, I'm really second-guessing my last song. I mentioned today on the radio that in Austin we do this thing called the Purgatory Players, right? And we play whatever we think is gospel music that week. Sunday morning, and we raise money for the Central Texas Food Bank, which is a really, really, really cool organization that services like 23 counties. And one person will play like a Staples Singers tune, and then one person will play like an Emmylou Harris tune, and then one person will play like an original, and then of course John D. Graham will play like a Tom Waits tune or something. And the best thing ever happened one time. Somebody walked in and they said, "Man, they sound great. What kind of music do they play?" And the kid behind the bar, I will never forget it, he said, "Oh, they play spiritual music for non-denominational folks." Which I thought was awesome. I was just like, man, that just nailed it. So I've been trying to write some songs like that. That's why we did that Neil Young song, you know. Sort of the Unitarian Universalist kind of vibe, I guess. You know, everybody welcome. So we're going to bring a little Sunday morning to, what is it, Wednesday night? Yeah, we can make that happen. Well, good morning, good people. I know you got troubles. You think you can outrun your fate. Don't be so sure. Take another look, and maybe it's not too late. Now listen, I was beat down, I was so tired, I was longing for the cleaner slate. How was I to know which way to go? Could be the narrow and the straight. Maybe too late, maybe too late. Well, you've only got your own life to contemplate. Maybe it's not too late. Sometimes this thing surprises me, and then I just want to play a little bit more. Sorry about that. Now if you're circling the drain or you're idling the main, those are temporary stays. Lay one foot down in front of the other, no need to hesitate. Now if you want to get out of your own way, lend your hand, don't discriminate. Free your mind from the body to self, and maybe it's not too late. Maybe too late. Oh, maybe too late. Lay your burden by the river. It's been such a heavy weight. Maybe it's not too late. Every time this is a pretty new song, so every time I play it, I get this other song stuck in my head, and I'm not sure why. And it happened on the radio earlier today, and it was kind of like... And I'm pretty sure that doesn't really go with the gospel feel that I'm going for with this song. Because you don't want to get up on Sunday morning and be like, you know... No, you don't want to do that. That's a really bad idea. I'm pretty sure you can get away with like... All right, that's enough of that. Okay, be ready for your part, because it's coming up. All right? Well, it's true, sometimes they had the second chance to left you stalled at the gate. This too shall pass, give it some gas. Baby, it's not too late. Now when you're thinking, gets to stinking, and it's hard to even concentrate. Baby, let go, maybe you'll know that maybe it's not too late. Baby, too late. Baby, too late. Baby, too late, too late, too late. Baby, too late. All right, here it is, everybody. It's pretty easy. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. I know you want to do it. You just sing along with this and it makes you feel a lot better. It's like this, it's like this. Baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too late. See, you're already there. Baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too late. Come on now, you can help out. Baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too. And the ladies can go up real high like, baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too. And the men can go down low like, baby, too late, baby, too late. Everybody, baby, it's not too late. Not children, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too late. Baby, too late, baby, too late. Baby, it's not too late. Oh, that was so good. Thank you all so much. My name's Jeff Plankenhorn. I'll hang out with you. I got a Sharpie, and I love taking selfies. So come hang with me and support your local radio station and your local record store. I love this place so much. Thank you all so much.